Hey folks, I'm Mark Creamer, CEO at ConformIQ. Looking forward to sharing with you some of the ideas we have about using AI in the QA software testing process. And today we'll get started with a little explanation of a couple of different types of AI that, if used effectively, can deliver significant value in the software testing process. First, let's start with Symbolic AI. Symbolic AI is what I call the AI behind the curtain. It's a technology that's used to implement a thought creative process for a specific area or application. Best example people know about is Deep Blue, that was developed by IBM in the 90s to play chess against the best chess player in the world, Garry Kasparov, and Deep Blue actually beat Garry in chess using the Symbolic AI technology. What you may not know is the Symbolic AI was the technology behind and what was used to develop that specific expertise in chess. Well, ConformIQ has used that same technology to build specific expertise around a test engineer and QA testing process. So, effectively, what we've built is the world's smartest and most effective test engineer that's available using Symbolic AI. Now, the other AI that has kind of the limelight today is Gen AI, and that technology actually is primarily based on large models and large data models that you apply intelligence and heuristics to create and generate ideas versus Symbolic AI, which calculates the solution. And we'll talk about the value of those generally, and then how it applies in the QA software application. So actually, you can use both technologies for generating test cases and scripts, but because of the way the technology works, there's value in using one over the other. So for instance, if you use Symbolic AI to generate test cases and coverage and test scripts and so on, because of the way the technology works, the calculation approach versus the generation approach, you can actually get a predictable, reliable result at a fixed cost that if you were to apply that with Gen AI, you really can use it to do so, but you have inconsistencies. You don't have some visibility into where it came from and how it was created, and you have a lot of inefficiencies as well because it's not built to do that like we've done with the Symbolic AI implementation at ConformIQ. But interestingly, using Gen AI to generate requirements and generate ways to connect Gen AI with Symbolic AI really gives us an opportunity to apply the technologies in a way that delivers the ultimate value. And we might even call that Hyper AI. So with that, let's look at a demo and see how we can apply both going forward. So what we start with in that demo is actually some requirements. And these are text-based requirements written by a business analyst. Well, maybe the analyst could actually use Gen AI to help write those requirements. Gen AI is great for creating content, and then using that content, we can basically bring it into the Symbolic AI framework using a Gen AI technology, which we call Smart Gen. And what you're seeing in the background is us connecting our environment, to the requirements that we just showed you. And then we're going to specify, and if you've used Gen AI, you actually write a prompt to let it know what you want and what you're working on. And what we're doing now is writing that prompt so that when we bring that or import those requirements into our smart gen, we're actually going to create specifically the Gherkin implementation of those requirements, which will be the foundation for getting the requirements from the Gen AI process into the Symbolic AI process. Okay, so with that, what you're looking at now is a Gherkin representation of the requirements that have been converted into Gherkin, which will now drive the Symbolic AI process. And we'll use that as input into our Symbolic AI framework. And what you're seeing now is those Gherkin requirements have been captured and displayed in a visual way to help understand the connections of the application and the product that you want to build. And what this graphical representation does of the business requirements is actually what we use to generate test cases, define coverage, and manage the process going forward. So what we're doing now is we're using that graphical representation to generate the test cases, which will then drive the testing process and test creation process in a predictable, reliable way. And there you have it. Those test cases have been created, and what you're seeing now is a representation of the coverage of those requirements by the test cases that have been created. And it's an optimal set of test cases. That's something that not only you don't get necessarily from Gen AI, but if you make changes, which we're going to show you here, what we're seeing here actually is how those test cases cover and define cover the flow of specific requirements in that graphical model. And then we change that graphical model because our requirements have changed or things have evolved. And then what happens is, where in Gen AI you get a whole new set of test cases, well, with Symbolic AI, what you get with the ConformIQ environment is the test cases that have actually been created before. You verify that a whole bunch of them are already and consistent with the next generation of those test cases. They're the same, but you also indicate, because of the changes, we can show you that there are some test cases, like the red one indicated there, that are no longer valid. So by having a predictable environment that you get from ConformIQ, you can now manage your testing process and target specific areas and not have to regenerate entirely as you move along through the process. So now you continue to have an optimal set of test cases for testing. And then once you've generated those test cases, you want to execute them. So you want to execute them not necessarily manually. You want to do that actually in an automated way. Well, based on our environment, now that you have 100% coverage, you have test cases that have been updated based on changes in your requirements, you can target any particular execution framework that you choose. You can do that with the test runner framework from ConformIQ, or you can do that targeting custom frameworks that have been built. And here's a list of what those are. For a variety of customers, or standard testing environments like Selenium or Robot, or variety, pretty much any type of environment that you choose to automate your execution. So getting to what we discussed in the beginning, using the right AI technology for the particular parts of the process, starting with Gen AI, helping you get the content required and defined for what it is you're building, and then handing that off to a Symbolic AI framework that provides you the most intelligent, expert in software testing, to give you the quality that is what we call the gold standard, in the software testing arena, minimizing software defects and so on. You combine the two to get effectively the highest quality software, that you can deliver in the shortest possible time. I understand some organizations don't necessarily want to or need to invest, to get zero defects, but by using this process and the combined technologies with the intelligence of your people as part of that process, you can deliver extremely high quality software at the lowest possible price, and use AI to do that. And that's why ConformIQ is here to help you do that. So if it's okay for you to just use Gen AI and generate test cases and do it inconsistently and inefficiently, and that's the level of quality that you have to deliver as part of your software, that's fine. But if you want to deliver the highest quality, lowest defect software, the most efficient and lowest possible price, that's where we'd like you to partner with ConformIQ. So with that, take the Hyper AI solution available from ConformIQ and let's get started. Thanks for listening.